pleasant morning to you, Mr. Lalugar Casimiro. I am Bea Geneva May Artapat, major in poultry, and I'm here to discuss to you the major practice in poultry production. This report will be divided into five parts, which are the introduction, description and schedule of activities, outputs and discussion, problem encountered and recommendation, and lastly, the lesson that I learned. So in introduction, we have the importance of the major practice. Major practice program is offered to apply the knowledge that student acquired from the different disciplines in poultry production. Also, to gain knowledge that cannot be obtained from classroom discussion and to have managerial skills, students who will undergo this program will become aware of actual poultry production and can contribute to find ways to support the increasing demand for increasing population in the country and to have a chance to get a preferable job. Objectives of the major practice. So the general objective of the major practice is to express the student to actual operation and management employed in poultry production. The specific objectives of the major practices are the following. First, to develop the student's ability to integrate knowledge from various disciplines and to identify and analyze problems in the actual farm situation. To equip students with the necessary technical and managerial skills and develop their confidence in a given poultry or livestock enterprise. To provide a venue for demonstrating the profitable operation of animal enterprise managed by students under the guidance and supervision of competent faculty. To provide means for testing the technical and economic viability of newly developed technologies. And lastly, to increase the student chances for gainful employment either as a private entrepreneur or a government farm agent through a system of on-farm training or apprenticeship in a specified poultry or livestock enterprise. So, under this, these are the expected outputs. Students are able to apply theoretical knowledge they learned and be able to identify problems and come up with correct remedial measures. Students will be able to understand and interpret the technical and economic parameters of poultry and livestock enterprise. Students are able to showcase the management being done in a profitable project operation. Students will have knowledge in operating newly developed technologies and products used in actual farm operation. And lastly, students will have a high chance of gaining employment in both public and private institutions after graduation. Time and place of the major practice. The major practice was conducted from September to December 2019 at the APO Poultry Module 1 and March to April 2020 at the APO Contract Broiler Project of the University Business Affairs Program, or UBAP, Central Luzon State University, Science City of Muñoz, Nueva Ecija. So this is the second part, which is the description and schedule of activities, orientation and overview of the major practice. Before the conduct of the major practice, the student will be given an orientation and familiarization on the program. Project in charge and advisor at the same time will additional information and instruction regarding the management applied in the project. The student will be assigned in some activities including laying management, broiler management, record keeping, and other activities in poultry projects. Inputs and facilities requirement. So, the Apo Broiler Project is a farm integrated by Danway Processing Corporation which provides the stocks, feeds, medicine, and technical assistance throughout the growing period. The Poultry Module 1 is composed of 7 houses, which is divided into 5 categories, namely laying hens house, brooding growing house, feed room, experimental area, and egg room. So, under the broiler management, we have the biosecurity, before and after arrival of the chicks, brooding and growing management, feeding and water management, light management, medication and vaccination program, manure management. So in biosecurity, preparation of all houses and equipment were done a week before the arrival of the chicks. Chicken manure underneath the broiler house was removed, eliminate the possibility of contaminating the incoming flock. Before and after arrival of the chicks. Before the arrival of the chicks, a week before the arrival of the chicks, the damaged floor of the poultry houses were replaced and repaired, and damaged curtains were also replaced. The whole poultry house and its equipment were disinfected using the glutaraldehyde plus quaternary ammonium compound for viruses, fungi, and bacteria. So the chicks were transported at night time or early in the morning in order to minimize stress. Chicks were properly carried out from the trucks and placed in the house for further selection and selection. So the criteria for a good quality chick were dry, fluffy, bright eyes, well-heeled navels, and active appearance. Good quality chicks were placed in the brooder area. Brooding and growing management. So brooding is the process of providing artificial heat to the newly hatched chick. So the growing period is rapid growth and development of the birds. This period, the birds can regulate their own body temperature. Feeding and wastewater management. So ad libitum feeding was implemented to enhance the growth and development of each broiler chicks. Lighting management. Lighting is an important management technique in a broiler production, specifically at night time. Normally, artificial lights were switched on from 6 o'clock p.m. to 6 o'clock in the a.m. In case of the power failure from the main source of electricity, we have standby generator that is readily available to the users. Medication and vaccination program. So, vaccination is an effective means to prevent and or reduce the adverse effects of the specific disease in poultry. The birds were vaccinated against Newcastle disease through drinking water on day 10. It was done at night to minimize the stress. Manure management. After harvesting the flock, manure was collected and properly disposed of. This was done to maintain the cleanliness of the house and to lessen the microbial growth. So it is the most important, the record keeping, because it gives constant information about the general performance of the business. So we have the management of layers. We have the housing, water and feed management, lighting management, egg collection and handling, culling and selection, marketing of products, and record keeping. So in the housing, in poultry module 1 is composed of 3 laying houses with a capacity of 1,960 per house. Houses are composed of stair type wire laying cages with dimensions of 18 inches by 20 inches by 18 inches per cage, which can accommodate 4 birds. Water and feed management. So the birds were fed twice a day at 5 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon. To sustain egg production, each layer was fed with laying mash, about 90 to 110 grams per bird, containing 18% of crude proteins. Before the first feeding in the morning, water through the work length, using the cloth to maintain the cleanliness of running water. So the lighting management. Proper lighting is important in egg production. The intensity of the light should be sufficient to allow a person to read the newsprint at the bird level. Artificial light was used during the night. The light was turned on 5:30 p.m. and 6 a.m. and the next day. Egg collection and handling. So collection of eggs was done 3 times a day to minimize egg breakages. The first collection was done between 9 to 10 a.m. The second collection was done for around 1 p.m. and for the last collection will be done at the 4 p.m. So culling and selection. Culling is the process of removing unproductive birds with undesirable characteristics from the flock. This is done to improve the production and performance of the flock and the efficient utilization of feeds. Marketing of products. So chicken eggs are culled, Chicken eggs and culled chicken are primarily products sold to the faculty, students, as well as the retailers. It was the primary source of income of the APO, the Poultry Production One. Chicken manure and empty feed bags were also marketed as an additional income of the project. So record keeping, as we all know, it is the most important part of management, especially in layer, because this is the paper where you can see the mortality of number of culled and chicken sold, and feed consumption. And the most important decision made by farm manager was based on prevailing records. So we are in the third part of my discussion, which is the outputs and discussion. So the project location and description of the farm layout. So the APO Contract Broiler Project and APO Poultry Module 1 is located at the Central Luzon State University Science City of Muñoz. So the APO Contract Broiler Project is about 1.5 kilometer from the national highway, about 5.5 kilometer away from the Science City of Muñoz, and about 10 kilometer away from San Jose City. So the description of the farm layout is that the APO Contract Broiler Project has an area of 2 hectares. This project is composed of 4 conventional or monitor type houses and 1 tunnel ventilation house, 3 feed bodegas, and quarters for the field practice students. So, the technical analysis of the farm. So, this is the weekly performance of the layer. So, the table 2 shows the weekly performance of layer birds from the 34 to 46 week of age. The initial bird at 34-week age was 1,915 heads, and the final population at 46th week of age was 1,878 with a CM of 40. So the table 2 also shows the income over feed cost of layers in APO Poultry Module 1 from 34 to 46th week of age. The total number of eggs produced was 161,171 pieces with a total sales value of 1,007,643 pesos. So, financial statement of layer. So, this table, the table 3 shows the financial statement of the APO Module 1, September to December 19. The total gross income was 1,007,643 pesos. However, the total expenses that include labor, salary, electricity, feeds, biologics, and other expenses amounted to a total number of 545,534 pesos, and the return on expenses of about 45.86%. Production performance and some economic analysis for broilers raised at the APO broiler project. So this table will show you the weekly performance of broiler. So the performance of the broiler raised in the conventional housing system from February to March 2020 is shown in this table. The initial number of birds was 9,988 heads with an average body weight of 42 grams. After 40 days growing period, the birds attained final body weight of 1.77 kg with 8,990 birds harvested. Feed conversion ratio, or FCR, of the batch was relatively poor at 2.22. So, let's move on to the performance of the broilers. So, in this table 5, it will show you the performance of Birds Broiler project from the month of February to March 2020. So, compared to Danway-based standards, the average weight of chick is 42 grams while the standard is 45 grams. Proper management and feeding were followed as prescribed by the farm manager with the technical assistance of integrator veterinarian. Birds attained at a final weight of 1.77 kilogram, which is higher than standard of 1.40 kilograms. Oh, so let's move on to the financial statement of Apple Broiler Project. So in the table 6, it will show you the Apple Contract Broiler Project from February to March 2020. So the total grower's fee was 80,910, while the operating expenses that include salary, brooding materials, electricity expenses, fuels and oils and other accounted for a total value of 36,710. Therefore, the return expenses was ranging from about 83.05%. So, for the fourth part of my discussion or presentation, we have the problem encountered and recommendation. So, in the Apple Poultry Module 1, the problems encountered were the unavailability of power generators in the project to be used when there is power outage, rodents and predators such as stray cats and snake that causes the mortality of the birds, all facilities and equipment for cartwheel using the traveling eggs housed to the poor drainage of waterers. So in the Apple Brother project, problems encountered were poor road system, defective slatted flooring resulting in a leg injuries on birds, and defective feeders and waterers. So it is recommended for me to improve the road for ease transportation and for faster hauling of birds and delivery for feeds. Repair, the maintenance on the floor must be given extra attention. Defective feeders and bell waterers should be replaced so that feeds and water are not wasted. So, lesson learned. So, before the start of the major practice, the students studied theoretically about poultry production. So, during the field practice, additional skills and information were attained. She gained knowledge about the proper management to be given on both broiler and layer birds. Also, how to deal with the laborers, co-practitioners, and new people around the farm. Became conscious in time and responsibility to wake up in the morning. In layer management, different managerial skills were learned like proper raising of pullets, specifically what and when to provide medication, proper handling of eggs to maximize the profit. The most important lesson that she learned was to have self-confidence in managing a farm and to be open on positive criticism. The experience at both projects will help me to become a fine farm owner someday in the future. And that's all. Thank you.